What's up, everybody? I got my best man here, Tony Marinello, who we had on for episode 10 of the House Money Hockey Podcast, powered by New York Dynamo. And we have, I believe he was your cheddar, your captain at Brockport,
Mm.
Sir Gordon Pritchard, or Cheese, as those who know him refer to him by. Hello, sir. Thanks for
Okay.
joining us.
Thanks for having me. This is awesome.
Yeah, really appreciate it. It's been a long time. The hockey world's small, and so I'll start out by saying I'm super grateful, obviously, that we can do this, but just that I met you through Tony. What was your guys' first encounter like? Me and Tony's, we mentioned this last time. It's a little different, but I was calling him by the wrong name. He wouldn't pass me the puck, and I figured it out quickly. That's how we first met.
Where you're calling him Paul or something
I
like
was
that?
calling him Peter. I thought we had the
Peter.
same name. And the guy we were playing cross ice, the guy was wide open. The guy just would not feed me the rock ever. And then come to find out, he's like, "My name's Tony, bro."
I'm like, who is this lady? It keeps on
Oh.
yelling at me. I mean,
What was
yeah,
it like
yeah.
when you guys first met? You guys were a couple years apart in school, right?
We were a
I,
couple of years apart in school, but we were in the same class in Brockport.
Were you actually?
Yeah,
So you guys played 4 years together.
we
Yep.
did, and we had most of our classes together as well. So we spent a lot of time together in 4 years at good old SUNY Brockport.
yeah, I think my memory, if it serves, we were in the same dorm, and like he roomed with three other hockey players, all of which were Canadians. I think, the only other hockey player on the floor, and I didn't have any hockey roommates, which was fine. We ended up being, lifelong friends. But I remember walking down to the room. And I'm like, hey, are you guys hockey players? And they obviously looked at me like, who am I to come in and ask, you know? And I was like, hey, I'm also. They're like, okay. I'm like, hey, I'm Tony. And then he's like, hey, I'm Gordon Pritchard. I'm like, are you Cheese? And he's like, yeah. And I'm like, well, we just became best friends.
This is
And
gonna
then
be amazing.
it's just been a ride ever
I,
since then. But yeah, had the same kind of curriculum and major and stuff like that. So we spend a ton of time together. So yeah.
Isn't
I
it
think
amazing to
your
think like
follow up.
where you
Oh, sorry.
no, just where you come from, a good old Canadian boy, and you come to Western New York and meet an upstate New Yorker, and you guys all this time later, you could feel the vibe between you. It's pretty cool.
It's awesome. I mean, we would have met 21 years ago, I guess, in '04 in Brockport, and we've remained close friends since. And I think, we can talk about it later, but I think that's one of the beauties of hockey and sport is the friendships you make along the way. And whoever would have thought, 21 years later, I'd be sitting on a podcast talking to two guys from the CP that I both know from from over the years of hockey in school. So it's pretty special.
How did you end up at Brockport? So you played your junior. Were you in the SJ? Were you in the AJ?
No,
Where'd you play?
I was in the Manitoba Junior League.
Okay.
I played for the Neepawa Natives for 3 years, and it would have been in my junior, or I guess my second year. I wanted to get a scholarship to the states. Like I wanted to play Div One, and the reality was I was an okay hockey player. Not too many D1 schools knocking on my door. And I thought, like, how the heck am I going to get down there? I had a few buddies that were in D1, a buddy at Wisconsin, another one at Alabama, Huntsville. I was like, how am I going to get down there like these guys? And so I just decided one day we had like a local cable company in Neepawa that would videotape all their games. And I went and talked to the guy. I said, hey, like, do you have all of our games from the last couple of years? He's like, yeah. I'm like, could I come down and like make a highlight video basically? So every couple of days I would go down after practice to this little basically shack in the middle of Neepawa. Neepawa now is a town in rural Manitoba that has maybe 5,000 people, like really small town. And so I'd go sit in this building for hours on end, like splicing together this highlight tape from
That's
me and
awesome.
the, from me and the MJ. And I think I ended up it ended up being like 3 or 4 minutes long, and I it was on VHS, and I
Oh,
packed
these
I
kids
packed
won't know what VHS is.
it was on VHS. I packaged it up and sent it out to 50 different schools, and then just started following up. And I had a couple schools from the SUNYAC reach out, a couple in the Midwest, and then Brockport and Buffalo State reached out and said, "Hey, do you want to come down and visit?" And so I said, "Sure." And then I came down and I went to both schools. I really enjoyed my fly down, and eventually Brockport offered me an opportunity, and the rest is history.
How much consideration did you give to Buff State? Were they like a rival for you guys at all, or no?
Yeah.
They were,
I mean,
yeah,
yeah, they were. I mean, it depends on who you ask. I think that we probably held ourselves to a higher standard a little bit at Brockport, but still understanding you were close to a city. This is how I viewed it. Geez, you could add or
yeah.
subtract whatever you think, but like, Buffalo's certainly a great hockey town, a great sports town. You're like, hey, this is pretty cool. But yeah, that's just how I looked at it. What do you think? Geez.
The biggest thing for me, the biggest difference between the two was I didn't feel like Buff State had the like college feel that I was looking for. Because in Brockport, the arena was right on the campus, and you could live on the campus, and dorms were on campus, or you could, if you were in student housing, you were like walking distance from the campus. So at Buff State, it was a little bit of a different setup, and I think that was probably one of the deciding factors for me. Was I really wanted more of that traditional college feel where everything was kind of in one place.
And anybody's wondering why Cheese is so well spoken, he is I believe you're a practicing lawyer, and he's the CEO of the Regina Pats of the WHL. So he's a prime example. Get your studies, kids, because the game ends for all of us, but you can continue and evolve and be involved with hockey at a high level without playing. Um, when you went to school, were you planning on studying to be a lawyer? Was that in the cards? Were you always a great student? The last guy that we interviewed, Mikey Malatino, also a very well-spoken young man, 19 years old, has a great, like, phenomenal head on his shoulders and speaks with the awareness like you do. And he's really putting a lot of thought into where he's going to attend school. It matters to him. He is, the broken leg theory. You got to like where you're at if you break your leg. What was your focus when you went to school? Like, I'm going to play pro hockey when I leave school, or I know I'm going to have to get a job, but I want it to be in the game. What was your thought process like?
Yeah, I honestly, when I went to Brockport, I did not have a plan. My plan was that they're going to let me keep playing hockey, and so I'll take a few classes and figure it out from there. Truthfully, I get asked this question all the time, and in high school, like, I thought I did not enjoy high school. I thought high school was rigged. I tried hard and studied, and I got average grades. And my best friends, like the old story, they didn't do anything and they got straight A's, and I thought this is ridiculous. And I remember one English class, they gave me a book to read, and I was like, well, there's no chance that's getting read, or I'm doing the report. So, of course, there was a movie. I watched the movie, got the highest grade in the class, and I thought, didn't read one page of the book. Crack the code. So then, yeah, when I got to Brockport, I remember one of the first days on campus, you go see the guidance counselor, and they basically say, hey, like, what do you want to study? And I was like, I don't know. And they're like, well, if you want to play hockey, you better pick something. So I thought, well, my uncle, who was a police officer in Toronto, I always looked up to him, and he did all what I thought was the cool stuff, the SWAT, the undercover, that kind of stuff. I'll be a police officer. And she's like, okay, well, that's criminal justice. I'm like, all right, sign me up. So I did study criminal justice with a minor in political science and psychology. And Tone and I had a professor, his name was Dr. Jim Ross, who kind of really took both of us in under his wing. And Dr. Ross, he played a year or two at Air Force on a scholarship, and then blew out his knee. And he had to change course, and he ended up, long story short, becoming a lawyer and a professor. And he said, hey, Gord, you should check out my pre-law class. And another professor's name is Dr. Chadsey. You should check out Dr. Chadsey's class. So I said, sure, I'll try it. He's like, you can be a police officer. There's nothing wrong with that, but I think you should look into law school. I said, sure, no problem. I'll take these classes. And I took the classes. I ended up doing well. And then both those professors convinced me to write the LSAT. And I did that. Did it a couple times of being truthful. First go around wasn't so good. And then at that point, that would have been like our junior year. I Tone, you spoke of in your episode, you're kind of at a crossroads. What were you going to do next? And that's when you started talking about the military. And I vividly remember you talking about that and being like, man, it's not if you go to war, you're gonna go to war. Like, are you sure you really want to do this? And you're very steadfast, like this is what you're gonna do. And and we all started kind of supporting you and what that journey would look like for you. We didn't know, but we knew that you were serious about what you were going to do. And I think it was around that time when I started to get really serious. Like, I'm a decent hockey player, but the reality is, okay, maybe the Central Hockey League when this is over, maybe a second level in Europe or a third level in Europe, but you're not going any further than that. And I went in as a 21-year-old freshman. So when you get near the end of 4 years of college, you better figure it out.
You stretched it, bud. You stretched it. Good for you.
I got the most I could out of it.
Good for you. Good for you. A lot of mileage.
Hey, Pete, yeah, just a couple things I want to recap on there that, for parents and kids that are listening, like what you should extrapolate from those kind of points that Cheese just brought up is a couple things. One is like the power of a mentor. Like we kind of fell into kind of Dr. Ross as a mentor, but like you're never too young to find some type of mentorship a couple years older or regardless of the age, just to help guide what you may or may not do. I think that's helpful regardless of the level and the age. So I think that was a good note. And then number two is you tend to be the company you keep. And so like the support structure is wildly important. You obviously gravitate towards your team as much as you can. And then in our circumstance, so many of those players were so high performing academic folks that it just drove you to another level that you didn't even know was possible. And so like if you have that ability to do that in your team or in your school, regardless of your grade, like you should do that. So that's kind of just what I took away from some of the things that Cheese just mentioned.
No, it's a great point. The life skills are so essential for these kids. It just can't be lost on them. Like you, not trying to skip ahead, but you work with a player like Conor Bedard, where we're not working with those types of kids, but you want to try to develop these daily habits, these details in your life that are going to allow you to have success like the two of you have, after your days on the ice are finished. So, and it's also important, I think, for the kids to taste success. And the more detail oriented you are from day to day, the quicker you're going to find that success. You're going to sustain that success. So as you do move forward and you graduate law school and you remain in the game, if I'm not mistaken, pardon me, you were a scout for a short time in the coast in ECHL for Toledo, and you also, I believe, did you work for Yorkton and win a Royal Bank Cup in like around 15 or something like that?
It was in 2014 we won the RBC. But you're right. I did when I was in when I went to law school, I quickly realized, and again, this is one of those things about playing sports, and the beauty of sports is up until that point. So I think I guess 24 or 25 at that point. Every fall I'd been part of a team for essentially my entire life. And then I went to law school and I was like, where are my teammates at? Like I've got no teammates, had to go find new teammates, new friends. And I quickly realized how important the game was to me in my life because I had been in it my entire life. And yeah, you have the wins and losses, of course, but it's the friendships that you make that really stood out to me that I didn't have. And I quickly thought, like, man, I got to try and find a way to use this law degree to get back into hockey. And so during my first couple of years of law school, I started networking and leaning on the guys that I'd worked with or played with during my playing career. And I got connected with Nick Vitucci, who is the head coach and GM of the Toledo Walleye.
Goalie, right? Like
he was a goalie, yeah.
Hall of Famer, if I'm not mistaken. Is he?
Yeah.
I think so. Cool. Small world.
Yeah. So Nick, I worked with Nick at the Can-Am hockey schools in Guelph, Ontario in the summertime when I was going to Brockport to make a little cash. And Nick was there. And so I became friends with him. And then when I was in my last year of law school, I said, hey, Nick, like, can I come down and like shout at you or, see what a day is like and in working in hockey. And so I went down to Toledo, spent the day with him, and said, like, there's really nothing I can give you here in terms of a job or internship, but like, if you want to scout, why don't you scout for us? And so I said, sure. He said, okay, well, why don't you look at the free agents that are seniors in NCAA in the area, and if you can catch the odd OHL game, looking for 20-year-olds that are undrafted, why don't you send me your notes on those players and go from there? So that's how I got my start in scouting. And then after I graduated from law school, I moved home to Yorkton, Saskatchewan, and I was practicing law. And there's a junior team there, the Yorkton Terriers, and I knew the GM and the head coach. Actually, the head coach, his name is Trent Cassan, and Tone, you and I played against Trent. For 4 years. He was in Geneseo. So we kind of hit it off right away, and I said, hey, like, I'm just looking to continue in the game. I'll kind of do whatever you guys need or you're willing to let me do. And they said, well, why don't you be the assistant GM? And I said, sure. And so I worked with them for 3 years, and we had a great team. We actually had a great team all 3 years. Our first year we had some success, and then my second year we won the league championship and the Western Canada, and we went to the Western Canada Cup, which is the qualifier to go to the Royal Bank Cup. And we lost in the final game there 1-0 to go to the Royal Bank Cup. And then the next year we came back and we repeated as league champions. We won the Western Canada Cup. And then we went to the Royal Bank Cup, and we started the Royal Bank Cup 0-2. And so we were up against it, and we had to win out to go on. And we won our next game. We won our third game, and then we won our fourth game in overtime to stay alive and go to the semifinals. And then we ended up we won the semifinals, and in the finals we were playing Carleton Place, and they're a really good team. And they're kind of beating up on us, and they
Jason
were up.
Christie, is that his name? The old owner, coach there, GM, did everything. A lot of success.
A lot of success, very successful program. A lot of really good hockey players went through there that went on to play Division I or Division III. He did a really good job there. Coaching and developing players, but also just team success. I think they went to 2 Royal Bank Cup finals in a row. And I think they went to the tournament like 3 or 4 times. But we were down 3-1 with about 5 minutes left, and we ended up scoring 2 goals in 8 seconds, and then we won in overtime.
So for the people down here that probably don't know, no big deal.
Yeah.
Tone's giving a fist pump. But what leagues are involved in the Royal Bank Cup?
Yeah, it's all the junior A leagues across Canada. So I think at the time there's 128 teams across Canada. And you play your own league, and then if you win your league, you kind of go to regional tournaments, and from the regional tournament, if you win that, you can go to the Royal Bank Cup and play for the national championship.
That's a lot of success you had there. Do you think that's what helped you kind of move forward and get up to with the big boys in the dub in Regina? Or?
Yeah, I do. I think I think having success and really learning the game and the business of hockey at the junior A level really helped me. And I think anytime you're on a team that has success, there's a little more spotlight on you, and you have opportunities that maybe come your way because of the team success you had. So I had the opportunity to join the Regina Pats in 2014, I guess it was, kind of at an entry level position. I kind of had to make a decision. Am I going to carry on practicing law, or am I going to give this hockey thing a go full time? And the opportunity, I just thought, this thing's not going to come around again if I don't at least try this. I'm fortunate to have the education and the background I do. I can go back to law, but I don't think this is coming around again. So I jumped in with both feet, and I had a bunch of different jobs with the Pats, but most of them were on the hockey side as the director of hockey operations for 6 years. And I was really fortunate to work with a man by the name of John Paddock, who is in the American Hockey League Hall of Fame. And he has 2 Calder Cups as a player and 3 as a coach, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. He's coached and managed in the NHL. He's in the game for nearly 50 years. And so I worked side by side with him for for 6 seasons. And, Tone, you talked about it earlier, mentors and those that you can look up to. And Pads was one of those for me. And I'm very fortunate to work with him. And he gave me a lot of opportunity to learn and grow. And I think was helping groom me to maybe be the next assistant GM or GM of the Regina Pats if the timing all worked out. And so he gave me an opportunity on the scouting side, in addition to my role as the director of hockey ops, and in the CHL and in Western Canada and the Ontario League and the Quebec League have it too. We have a draft, and that's how we how players enter the league. One-way players enter the league, and so I was in charge of the province of Saskatchewan for the draft. And I would cross over to the other provinces as well in the West and a little bit in the US to get a representation of what the players are like in the other provinces as I was putting my list together in Saskatchewan. And that's where I really started to hone my skills and craft as a scout, as I was making my way up to hopefully one day be a GM in the league. That was the ultimate goal. And then COVID hit, and plans changed, and the world kind of got turned upside down a little bit. And again, I was fortunate to have the background I do, and was able to go practice law for a couple of years. And then our current owner, Sean Semple, reached out to me one day, and he said, essentially, I'm creating this new position within Queen City Sports and Entertainment Group, which is the parent company that owns the Regina Pats. And he said, "Do you want to be the CEO?" And I said, "Oh boy, that's a big opportunity, a big responsibility." So
let me check my schedule and get back to you.
Yeah, pretty much. Work out any openings. Yeah. So it's a long-winded way of saying I ended up taking the opportunity and the role, and I've been in it for 3.5 years now. I've had 3 seasons under my belt as the CEO of the Pats, and it's a little different view when you're responsible for the business and the hockey side. The one thing between the two, though, is they really do play off each other. It truly is it is a team. The business side needs the hockey side, and the hockey side needs the business side. So it's quite the interesting role and opportunity. And we've had some success, and we've had some challenges too, going through a full rebuild. And now I think we're back on the upswing and good things to come.
So it's an amazing position that you are in. As we mentioned it before, and we're going to get to this kid a little bit, but you had the chance to see it up close and person, what a potential generational talent is like. Get to know him, get to know his family as well. And we will get to that in a minute, and I don't want to steal Tony's question, but I think it's a good time for this. So you've seen what the best looks like. Okay. Mm-hmm. So let's say you're mentoring these younger kids, younger players, because you've seen it all. It seems like you've had all different types of roles. And if you're playing hockey at a AAA level, heck, if you're playing hockey at a AA level and you're 10 years old, you've got it all in front of you. Like, you should be growing your passion, your eagerness, your love of the game at that age. But as they start to get a little bit older, like, how would you mentor these kids? What would you be telling them? Like, this is how you can get the most out of your ability. This is how you can reach your ceiling. What you saw it, what it looks like. What would you be telling these younger kids? Sorry to steal your question, Tom. I love it.
All right. See me after class.
I'll see you after. I'll see you in the hallway of the
building. I was gonna say maybe see him at Stewie's.
Yes, let's go. Stewie's coffee cup. Let's go. No big deal. Yeah.
I'll get you the sponsorship template, and you can send it over to them and get them signed up.
Let's go.
Yeah, there's a number of things, and you've mentioned it, Pete, on your podcast here, and so have your guests, and I truly believe this, and I know I'm repeating what has been said on this podcast a number of times, but I hope all the parents and the players listening, it's very true, is you can control 2 things every day in your life, and that's your attitude and your work ethic. Those 2 things they're always in your control. And if you can use that as a base, as your starting point, I think you're going to have a lot of success in the game and in life as well, which is important. And then from a hockey standpoint, I think it's as you're coming up through the ranks, whether you're playing house, travel, AAA, AA, it doesn't really matter. But I think master the foundational skills, the skating, the passing, the shooting. We've had a number of guests on here that have talked about how technique has come into the game in terms of shooting and skating. Master those techniques and those skills. And we say at this level all the time, and you would have seen it as a pro, but I don't think you can ever be a good enough skater. You can always work on your skating.
Agreed.
And I think in today's game and the way the game is going, and you see it at every level, if you can't skate and you can't keep up, you're not going to play. That's the simple fact of it. And so I place a big emphasis on attitude, work ethic, compete, skating. Another one is that we look at from a scouting standpoint is toughness, and that doesn't mean you're a fighter. That means can you take a check to make a play? Are you willing to sacrifice yourself for the team? Do you go to the puck and through the man, or do you dance around him and fish for the puck? That tells me a lot about you as a player, and your compete level and your willingness.
Little hands out, tushy back. Oh.
Yeah, when you go out to the point to block a shot, do you look like a flamingo?
Flamingy.
Or are you getting down in front of it, or some version thereof in today's game? My way of sliding out to the D wouldn't work anymore because they'll just toe drag around you and you'll be out at the red line sliding. So maybe don't do
that. This is gold though, because kids need to understand. Like, even at 12 years old, you don't need to be the best goal scorer. There's one puck on the ice. There's so many other things that you can do to attribute to success for yourself and for your team.
What do you do away from the puck? How are you putting yourself in a position, in the defensive zone to support your teammates and get the puck back and get it out? Whether it's to a safe spot in the neutral zone, or you've made a great breakout pass, tape to tape, you've made a great read, and you're getting up ice with your teammates and you're getting it in, or you're putting yourself in a position to get the puck back and maybe get a shot on net. In the offensive zone, are you making heads up plays with the puck? Where are you looking with and without the puck? Are you getting to the dead ice? Are you making it hard on the other team to defend you? If you're a defenseman, are you able to walk the line? So showing puck skills and your lateral movement and your skating ability, and then are you able to get your head up and get the puck through? It drives me bananas when players at our level and on my team, they drag the line and they have their head down and they shoot it right into the shin pads and they start the break.
These are simple things. They're very simple things that people don't realize that they're simple, and you can work on them and know this is going to make you a better player. Do this every single time you get on the ice. If you go out there for skill ice, don't be doing hoop-de-loops. I don't know, whatever. You know what I mean?
Yeah, lacrosse goals aren't going to get you drafted. They won't. The scouts are looking at the things that Cheese is mentioning. Like, if there's a super talented, if there's a super talented kid out there that's just ripping goal after goal, like, okay, we've identified that person has a ton of talent. Let's look at the rest of the team and what they're doing while that guy has the puck. Yeah, like, okay, exactly. that person who is stretching the D, for example, that no one's talking about, is actually causing that play and creating the white space for that player to break down the wide side of the boards. And you're like, okay, they actually know the game pretty well. Or when they're back checking, they have they're nowhere near the puck. Like, they're skating in front of the forecheckers that are coming down to give their D more time. They're really thinking about how they can contribute completely away from the puck. They understand the game. They know something,
Pete, you mentioned one thing that I think is important, and you said, like, when you're out there on the ice and you're working on your skills, don't do like the loop-de-loop drills. And I couldn't agree with that more. I think one thing that I'm seeing in today's game is there's a lot of emphasis on puck skills, and you have to have good puck skills. You see a lot of pretty toe drags and stick handle the puck a million miles a minute. But when you're on the ice and you're practicing and you're training, try and make it as realistic as possible. Yeah. And the one thing we talk about all the time is hockey sense. What is a player's hockey sense like? Can he read the ice? Can he read and react? Well, some scouts would say, and some hockey folks would say, like, you either have hockey sense or you don't. You can't really train that. and maybe that's true to a certain extent, but I think what you can do to train is train in the most realistic environment as possible. So it's good to do your stick handling drills around pucks or pylons, things like that. Those are all good, but I think the one thing that you need to be able to do as a player is read and react to what's happening to you on the ice and around you. So while you're working on your stick handling drills and your toe drags, like, do it against somebody that's actually trying to defend against you, because in the game you're not going to have a stationary pylon that you're going to try and go around. You're going to be pressured. You're going to be forced to make a decision. So practice that, whether it's in your team practices, or if you're in summer training with a group of guys, practice those realistic situations. And it's important to master the foundational skills and the passing, the shooting, all those things. But I think it's also important to try and practice the most realistic environment as possible.
Yeah, I think that's a great point. Things that happen over and over and over again. Where's the puck a lot in the games? Like for us, it's on the walls. Last week, I was on the ice with a 12U girls team, an 18U a boys team, a 10U boys, a 13U boys, Union Men's College, and Skidmore, right? So that's a lot of different levels.
That's full spectrum.
That's a full slate. That's a full slate, boys.
Yeah.
And I ran a very similar practice plan with every single group, right?
Yeah.
And a lot of the stuff that I've been doing right now in this early season, while everyone's so kind of, it's almost December now, but I put a lot of pucks on the walls. Like, hey, figure out a way to get that thing settled. And your object is to make sure that whenever the puck leaves this area, your team still has it, or they have more than a 50% chance to get it back. And in order to do that, like, there's all different situations on walls. You can skate onto it, you can skate over it and surround it, you can bump it to the middle, you can bump it under, you can chip it. But one thing that we emphasize all the time, and I'll be interested to hear, I'm sure that you'll allude to this with your guys, but the communication skills for these kids. The next man closest to the puck's got to talk. Hey, keep it there, eat it, bump it under, reverse it. I'm open in the middle, slip it between your feet. It's amazing to me how there is a lack of communication skills. They don't talk anymore on the ice. And it's so, you ever played men's league? You can literally walk guys through the play. Keep going, go under the net.
That's right. It's definitely
reverse it. Wow, that helps
helpful.
So much.
Right.
It is. Yeah. It's like having a walkie-talkie in your head.
That's right.
From a guy up top telling you what to do. It's the same thing. Like the puck's rimmed around. You're the low forward. You want hockey IQ? Well, man, I got a guy all over me. I need your IQ to enable me to help us keep the puck. What do I do with it? Are you open?
Yeah.
Are you not open?
Yeah, that changes whether you're checking or not. Like it changes a little bit, but the foundation of that is the communication. I remember like small tricks of the trade. Like if you focus on what seems to be such a small thing, you learn so many more things about, like, okay, what does that mean for in warmups? Let me check the dashers and the boards.
Sure.
See where the puck flies out to know how I know the sheet of ice that I'm playing in. Or
rim some, or clap some off the end wall.
Or you're skating directly into the glass, and then you have the foresight to look actually in the glass and see who's directly behind you to understand how you pivot. Just small things like that, but that's through repetition.
That's some next level stuff. So tell us that's a good little segue into our man Conor, who's, I think he's tied fourth in the league for scoring right now at 26 points. Was he like, so we're talking about us basic minions here in the hockey world and what we need to do. But a kid like this, generational talent, we talked about it before, how his draft year, he was doing well, and he went to World Juniors, and it was just like all worldly and nothing we've seen. And then now we know what he's kind of turning into. But what was it like working with a talent like him, his family? Give us a little bit of insight if you can.
Well, I think first and foremost with Conor and his family is they're so humble and they're so down to earth. And the other thing is they have incredible work ethics. And that's the thing with Conor. Don't take this word the wrong way, but he's a bit possessed. He's very, very focused and very dialed in on being an NHL hockey player and being an elite NHL hockey player. So everything he did was with a purpose. A lot of routine, a lot of structure, from the way he took care of his body off the ice, how he fueled his body, how he trained, how he got ready for practice, how he took care of himself after practice. That was one thing that we really noticed the younger players, and he was young himself. I should actually say the entire team really learned from him was how you prepare for a practice. Preparing for a practice is similar to preparing for a game. If you're serious about your craft, you're not just showing up and throwing your gear on and jumping out there. Like there's a whole routine that he would go through to get ready for practice, and that really helped with our other players learning. Okay, this is what it takes to be elite, and this is what it's going to take for me to get to the NHL. And then as we moved on, and Conor was with Chicago, we saw this carry on with the likes of like Tanner Howe, who's second round draft pick to the Pittsburgh Penguins, and he carried that on. And the young guys coming in behind him showed those guys what it meant to be a pro and how to prepare. But Conor was one of those guys that he was the first on the ice. He was the last off the ice. We would literally have to kick him off the ice, take the pucks away, push the nets away. Like that's the type of player he was. When we tried to give him rest, especially when he came back from the World Juniors, we'd hide his skates. The equipment manager, Gord Cochran, would take his skates and hide his skates. And the next thing you know, Conor was on the ice. Conor was on the ice. You're like,
Wow.
guys, I thought we put his equipment away. He's like, yeah, but we didn't hide everybody else's gear. So he just took somebody else's skates and went out there.
That's amazing.
Yeah. So that absolute rink rat. He's just he's very focused on his craft and being really good at it. And I think the one thing you've seen in the NHL is with Conor, he has an elite shot. And he put a lot of time and effort into it, kind of like, Robbie Shrimp that you had on. He put a lot of time and effort into his shot. Conor spent hours and hours working on his technique, working on his release. The one thing that he's perfected, and we started to see it at this level, was he's really good at coming at you with speed and then doing a little toe drag. And as you come across, he's shooting it through your legs and probably going bar down on you as a D man. So we would hear it got to the point where you kind of knew it was coming, and kids in the crowd would yell toe drag release.
Yeah. Nothing you could do about it. He was the World Juniors was comical. It was must-see hockey, and it's pretty cool to see what he's done now. He's kind of rebounded because he did. People don't understand, a guy that at that talent level in the junior hockey, you're getting leeway. You don't have to play defense. You can cheat because you're going to score 4 or 5 points a night usually, so you're allowed to. And then when you get to the NHL, any level pro, honestly, you're going to have some growing pains when you have to be responsible. You're playing against grown men who are every bit as good as you are and as smart. But he's made that adaptation. I think he changed trainers, I heard, and changed the way he trained. It just looks like he has a little bit more jump in his step. Obviously, they're doing better, but I think he drives that team with that weapon that he has. He's not the fastest guy straight ahead. He's kind of more like a darty player. Was he focused? Did he work on his skating a lot as well? Was he a guy that was getting out there? You see Crosby, he's working on his edges. It's the first thing that he does. Does he have something similar in his routine?
Yeah, he always worked on his skating as well. Like when he'd first get out there, he would work on his edges. I know in the summertime he spent a lot of time with his skating instructor. And working on that part of the game. And I think that goes back to what you're talking about now and what I mentioned earlier. Like I honestly don't think you can be a good enough skater. You can always work on your skating. And if guys like Conor or Sidney Crosby at Sidney's stage in his career, he's still working on it. I think that's the level of importance that you need to place on that part of your game. Just a quick side story on skating with one of your former guests, Robbie Shrimp. We don't have much in common, but we did have the same skating instructor. He used to come out to Regina in the summer times and skate with Leanne Davis. So he'd come out here. He came out here for a few summers and would spend a week or two at a time skating with Leanne. And the connection there is that Leanne's father was the great scout and architect of one of the architects of the Oilers dynasty, Lauren Davis.
Amazing.
Yeah,
Wow.
so she did some skating instructing with them. I grew up playing with her sons, Maddie and Jace, and yeah, we spent a lot of time with Leanne on the ice, and we started that at a young age. And I honestly believe, like, Tone, we played together. I think one of the reasons I was able to play at the college level is because I did work on my skating so much. I was average talent. But my skating, I thought, was pretty good, and it was from working on it in the summertime with Leanne, and doing the overspeeds and the hyper extensions, whatever the heck they're called, and the crossover drills and the quick feet. Like, she was,
drives you crazy.
It did, but when you're skating with, you'd remember the name Boyd Gordon. Like, you're Gordo, like you're skating and training with guys like that, that were leaning completely into skating. You're like, well, if I'm going to have any chance at keeping up with these guys, I better be out here with them.
And that's your engine, and it's so important to stick to it, because your body's constantly changing.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Your body can be loose one day, it can be tight the next day. Those mechanics, it's just important to stay on top of it. And it's like brushing your teeth. Get out on the ice for 10 minutes minimum, 15. Work on a few things. Strengthen your ankles. Yeah, exactly. Make it become innate. So you get into a situation where you're entering maybe an awkward puck battle. Guys are going at different speeds, different size than you. You got to be able to turn off your brain. The more you think, the more you stink. Poke that puck to a new space and get around that guy somehow. Right? I tell my son, dude, when you think, you stink. Don't be thinking. Just do it.
It's true. Overthinking is a real thing.
Overthinking is a real thing. I've done it. I used to sit on the bench in pro games and literally, like, group guys' last names together in groups of 3. I had such bad OCD and thinking during American League games. I'm sitting there like, Marinello, Marinello, that's 9. All right, forecheck, crazy.
Yeah, cross-eye stomp.
That's why I never move forward, right? But I'm getting off track here. But what about it? What about the parental side of things? Were they pushing people? Or they just let him do? You said he was kind of possessed. Like, I think it's an important aspect for people to realize that the kid's got to be, like, we can guide them. They got to be self-motivated. What was his situation like as it pertained to that?
Yeah, I think any player, the player has to want it. The player or the parent can't want it more than the kid. They have to want it. Parents are there, coaches are there to support and guide and provide the resources, but they're the ones that have to have that innate drive to want to be a hockey player and want to succeed. And with Conor, I think his parents, Tom and Melanie, I think they provided him with all the support he needed, and they let him do his thing. But they're super humble, down to earth, very easygoing. They're really good in the rink. They're super engaging with all of our fans, particularly when it got crazy after Conor came back from the World Juniors. I know it was hard for them to watch games, but they always said hello. They talked to everybody. Melanie would come by the office usually once a week or once every other week, and literally pick up bags of fan mail that would come in and take them home. And here's, again, he's a 17-year-old kid. He doesn't have to do this, but I think he's learned from pros around him that he's trained with over the years. Well, he would sit at home, a couple nights a week, and he would open the mail and sign and send stuff back, because he understood that it was part of his responsibility, if you want to call it that, at that young age. He had so many young players looking up to him as a bit of a, like, hero even at that age, and that's a big responsibility to bear for a 17-year-old kid.
Oh man, that gauntlet that he went through from the World Juniors through his first season in the NHL was absolute insanity. It was a circus, and he was getting carved. This poor kid was getting carved. His numbers are right on par with the best American-born player ever for forwards, Patrick Kane. And they haven't had the team success. They don't have Duncan Keith and Seabrook and Taves and Patrick Sharp and Marian Hossa and Martin Havlat and Hobby Bull. I was in training camp with these guys. It was incredible. he
Yeah.
doesn't have that cast, and he's still able to put up the numbers. And now he's making that evolution of being a leader, and they're in a playoff spot right now, and hopefully they keep it at the Thanksgiving, the American Thanksgiving, and they got the stats behind them. But this has been unbelievable, man. The information that you've been giving us here, Tony. Did you have anything else that you think Cheese could provide some value? I haven't even mentioned
Yeah,
it yet. Our little tagline that we're trying to help people get better at hockey without hopping on the ice. I think we've certainly done that in spades tonight, boys. Is there anything else that you think Cheese could provide for us?
yeah, we've definitely provided the audience a lot of free chicken here. So hopefully,
Free
free
drumsticks and
chicken.
thighs.
Yeah, free
Yeah.
drumsticks from
So
Stewie's. I'm not even sure if they have drumsticks, but
some
yeah,
days
I would say,
depends.
Cheese, from your experience, what you're seeing both as a player and in the industry for so long, and now in your current position, what's the value to the players in the CHL now with the recent NCAA eligibility change, and kind of your perspective on that? I'm sure people would be interested in.
Yeah, I think we still have a lot to learn and see how this NCAA rule change is going to impact players. And maybe just take a step back quickly on the NCAA rule changes for those that aren't aware. Last year around this time, the NCAA changed their eligibility rule that made it permissible for players who have played in the CHL to also then play in the NCAA. Previously, if you had played one game in the CHL, you'd lost your NCAA eligibility. And so when before the rule had changed, players had to make a decision if they were going to pursue the CHL route and go that way through for their junior, or play junior A in Canada, or in the States. There's a number of leagues. Pete, you played in the USHL. You had to kind of make a choice. And now with this rule change, I think the benefit of it to the player is they don't have to make a choice, and they have more options available to them. You can come to the CHL and you can play in the CHL through your 20-year-old year, and then you can still go play 4 years of NCAA. So for the players, I think it's awesome. You get the best of both worlds.
We have a kid from Clifton Park. Tony, you're going to recognize his name, maybe. If not, whatever. We'll continue. Brady Murnane, his dad, John. John was a ref back in the day. He's a Clifton Park kid. He went to the Oshawa camp this summer and fought their first round pick and opened eyes. And he's on their team right now. So he went to Winchendon, right? Prep. And yeah, I think he's like their sixth or seventh D, but he's a kid where it's like, all right, big boy. I don't know if he has excellent grades in school, if he's taken schooling seriously yet, but here's a different option for him where he's got a little bit of a runway to figure out, what am I going to be? Am I going to be a specimen and I'm going to be in the NHL and this is the right route, or are the circumstances going to change a little bit? And I still have the opportunity to go get an education or kind of change my route. It's going to be interesting to see. We had another kid too, Hagen Bach. Have you heard that name? He's in Brampton Battalion, or no, Barry Colts goalie. I think he's getting looked at by a couple different schools. Actually, another kid, Tommy Bly, is playing in Moncton. He's going to Michigan State, and he's from Schenectady.
They're doing pretty good this year.
Who's that? Michigan State.
Michigan State.
Yeah. So he's committed there. He won Defenseman of the Year at Cushing last year, but he's decided to go and develop a few years at Moncton before he's going to go the college route. So that's interesting to see too. Like, kids are just like, it's a directive. I'm going to go here, and then I'm going to develop here for a year before, hopefully, or two or whatever, before I turn pro or whatever, wherever their path kind of takes them. But I think it's pretty neat.
I think it is too, and I think the one thing about it is, I feel like kids these days, they're in a rush to make a decision, or they're in a rush to get to the next level, and I think it's understanding that it's all a process. As cheesy and cliche as that is, it's a process, and you have to be okay with it taking time. And if this rule change gives kids the opportunity to take a little bit longer to develop, or choose a route that extends their development, that they get to play and CHL and then NCAA. Well, there's nothing wrong with that. And I think as kids move up the ranks, don't always be in such a hurry to get to the next level, because it might not actually be what's best for you. You want to be ready for that opportunity so you can capitalize on the opportunity when you get there. Don't just rush to get to the next level. If you're playing AA, play AA and be the best player at AA and get all the touches and all the ice time you can in all situations, and then move to the next level the following year when you're ready. And we've all had those situations growing up in the game where you wish you would have been on a team but you got cut. Happened to be my first year of midget. All my friends made the AAA team here in Regina, and I got cut, and I played AA for a year. Looking back at the time, I was devastated. I was crushed, but it was probably the best thing that happened to me, not just for my hockey career, but to learn some adversity and learn how to deal with disappointment and not getting what you want, and then having to make a decision. Are you going to let it kind of crush you and end your hockey dreams, or are you going to buckle down and try and learn from it, grow from it, and be better for it going forward?
Yeah, that's like what a game is like. You got to fight the whole entire game, tiny little situations, and it's a game of mistakes. You got to keep pushing through all the way to the end, and then you get a little bit of a reset. And that's actually why we started calling our summer group, and why the podcast is called House Money Hockey. So we train early in the morning. We got the guys on the ice by 6 a.m. and they're done by 10. So your house money for the day, you've done all these good things for yourself. You've had a great meal. You've gotten up early, when the sun's coming up, getting that fresh oxygen before anybody else is out there stealing it from you. But mainly we're getting you prepared. Like, it's amazing how many kids will tell us, I went to camp and they did this test that we do every week. Like, I know. Yeah, I know. Because we've all done it before. And that's what we do this for you, to give you that house money, that preparedness, to know, like, this is what's coming ahead. If you're prepared, you know what it's like when you go into a test and you're ready to rock. Like, I'm going to crush this. If you're not, you're a little tight, walking around like a penguin, for lack of a better term, being PG for the kids on the podcast here. But this has been thank you so much for your time. We're gonna leave you with 2 questions.
Okay.
I'm not gonna actually. Yeah, Tone's making me chuckle because I'm thinking about what he called me after when we interviewed. He wasn't happy with me, but I won't do the same thing to you. I'll learn my lesson. But all right, a couple of questions. Stanley Cup winner, and who's going to get the Conn Smythe?
Stanley Cup winner. Well, those Vegas Golden Knights are pretty darn strong these days. They're nothing to match. I know they're coming off of a little bit of a streak, but I think those are good. And I think it was four in a row they lost.
Yeah, but they always do this. They have a wall. They figure it out.
So the GM there, Kelly McCrimmon. He's very good. He was the GM and owner of the Brandon Wheat Kings for years.
Okay, yes.
That's where I got to know Kelly, and he is the master of building teams, building consistently competitive teams, and at the NHL level with that LTIR. I'm sure he's got 1 or 2 tricks up his sleeve.
I love it. That's a hot take right there. I like that.
Yet to come this year, like we've seen teams do over the years.
Crafty.
Tampa was the first one, and saw Florida use it, and I think we'll see more and more teams doing it. But I mean, Jack Eichel's pretty darn good on that team. You
guys are brethren right here. Brethren, you two. I like it. Yep. No big deal. All right. What about all right, I won't ask you, Tone, have you done your homework? Like, who's going to be the MVP of the women's?
Is this where we're going to be right now?
Who's going to be the MVP right now? So Olympic winner on the women's side and an MVP. Tone's supposed to have done some homework, but for the looks of things, he hasn't.
It's in the mail. It's in the mail,
pal. It's in the mail. Who's going to win for the women in the Olympics?
Tone looks like he did when he came out of our stats exam.
Wait, you had a calculator?
We're allowed to use calculators.
I got the easy answer, man. Yeah, and who's going to be the MVP? I mean, it's clear as day. If it's Canada, I know who the MVP is.
On the men's side,
on the women. Okay. Are we going dual? Are you saying Canada for men and women?
Absolutely.
Okay.
On the
Gotta say
men's
that.
side, I mean, you also the Four Nations Cup. Another Connor McDavid.
Yeah.
I wouldn't bet against the man.
Okay.
And on the women's side, I'm going with Captain Clutch.
Yeah. How do you not? She's a BU girl.
Three,
Marie-Philippe Poulin.
do
She is
you know
it,
this? She has 3 game-winning goals to win Olympic gold medals,
man.
and 1, if not 2, game-winning goals to win the World Championships. Captain Clutch.
She she's something else.
Wow.
I think so. Jordan Duran works. She runs our girls program. She played a little bit of pro hockey in Buffalo and Boston, but I think she went to school with Marie at BU, and she was just an absolute light show, Marie Philippe Poulin, and she still is. Great for the game. It's
It's
going to be
awesome.
awesome. I can't wait to sit around the fireplace, have a nice cold beer, and watch some unbelievable hockey in February. And thank you so much for coming on, man. This has been the House Money
Yeah.
Hockey Podcast powered by New York Dynamo. It's actually our 12th episode, and this one's been super special. I hope you get to the NHL, man. It'd be unbelievable to see it. I don't know if that's a
Yeah.
goal of yours. Maybe if we get you on here again, we can talk about that. But it's been amazing to see your rise in the game, and I love the fact that you're still involved at a high level. So thank you so much, Chiefs.
Thanks very
Thanks,
much, Pete.
brother.
Thanks, yeah, thanks, brothers. Appreciate you guys having me today. This is awesome, and keep up the good work. Like I said earlier, you're onto something here. I've listened to just about every episode. I think I got 1 or 2 that I've missed, but you're providing a lot of great information and resources to hockey players, certainly in New York and upstate New York. But anybody listening anywhere, keep it up. This is awesome.
You're the man. Get better at hockey
Awesome.
without setting foot on the ice. Thanks, Tone. Thanks,
Thanks,
Chief.
Cheese.
See
Thanks,
you guys
Pete.
next
Talk to
time.
you guys. All right.
Peace.